And welcome back to some bird watching. Now you'll see today we're starting off with a nice rook. He's a lovely chap. Might be a lady actually. The females have got a slightly rounder head than the males. Look at it digging into the cracks in the table there. They'll even use a stick to get the food out if they can. If you don't know already the difference between a rook and a crow, the crow's beak is black and a little bit smaller, and the rook has got that bald patch. You can see a rook's nostrils there. They're very social birds that live in rookeries, hundreds of them sometimes. We've got about 7 here. Filling their faces. They mate for life. Well, we say they mate for life. They have long-term partners. We don't know they actually do. And down now to the female blackbird. These are a type of thrush blackbirds, and those are the eggs, blue with brown speckles. And now a beautiful male chaffinch, a lovely bird. Massive range all the way across Europe to Siberia, down to Africa. Hundreds of millions of them. Now up to about 1880 it was a common practice to keep these birds in cages like greenfinches. Beautiful song, but the Victorians and those before would poke out their eyes with hot needles in the mistaken belief that it would make them sing more sweetly. What a cruel practice. We've come a long way in civilization in some ways. Now here's a male blackbird come for a quick drink. That ring round the eye, that's less developed, it's less distinct in a younger male blackbird. It gets brighter as they get older. This one's maybe a year old. And he's soon off. And now here's Robin. Longest lived robin was 19. They don't really like the cold winters, and they rarely make it to a year or two. Once they get past that first year they're okay, but they don't all by a long way. Comical looking bird, a young robin when it's straight out of the nest. Looks nothing at all like the adult. Sort of brownish mottled, spiky bodies, but still that belligerent look about them. There are Russian ones that migrate here, and they haven't got such a bright red breast, and their upper body is greyer. This one isn't. This one's brown. It's quite a bright red breast, so we can safely assume he's not Russian. And now here's another wood pigeon. This is quite a young one. It used to be called the ring dove in this country, and down in the southeast of the country, a culver. The nests are quite vulnerable to crows, and they'll take the eggs or the young. But still, at least half of all juveniles tend to survive. And we shoot them. We say they're a menace to crops, because they eat so many seeds and such a lot of vegetation. And I suppose if you're a farmer you worry about this sort of thing. Oh, and here's magpie. Another one of the corvids. We don't often get such a close look as this at a magpie. They're very wary. They can become tamer. And we've had a pair here for about a year now. They just about tolerate us. They know where the dinner comes from. Morris and Morticia we call them. Very striking bird. No hesitation to go into the nest of a songbird and take its young or its eggs, like all the corvids. But I like to think we feed them well enough here that they don't need to. There's plenty of food. Now there's an Australian magpie. It's from an entirely different family. It's not a corvid. And they're a lot more aggressive. They'll go for you if they see you in the street, particularly if they've got a nest nearby. They'll protect the nest. But these guys, they're far more timid in the face of a human presence. But this one's concentrating on its dinner. But as soon as he's had enough, he'll be on his way. And that moment's coming very shortly. Just cram as much down his throat as he possibly can before he goes. Yeah, it'll still be here tomorrow when you come. Don't you worry. Yeah, just a bit more though. Off he goes. And now that lovely chaffinch again. It's very strikingly marked, this. Beautiful thing. In the Canary Islands they've got blue ones. There's a Tenerife blue one, and on La Palma there's a bluey green chaffinch from the same family. And now here's a magpie's back. In Old English they used to just call it a pie, which was nothing to do with the pie we eat. It's to do with the Latin pica, which cognates to pie in French, and they called it Maggie pie, and now just a magpie, and that's how the name came about, apparently, if you believe the sources. He doesn't care, not one bit. Call me anything you like. In China it's a sign of good luck. It's quite popular in Chinese paintings. See a magpie. Off you go then, mate. Oh, and now it's time for a yellow hammer. Now the yellow hammer used to be called a scribble lark, and that's the reason for it. Those eggs look as if they've been scribbled on. Or a writing lark was another name for them. Pretty little bird, but very prone to some awful parasites. I think there are about 14 different species of flea that live on a yellow hammer, and it's got a blood parasite which makes its plumage duller, and so, as our friend Mr. Charles Darwin would tell us, that helps in natural selection. The females will breed with the brighter coloured ones. And speaking of brightly coloured, here's Algernon, our pheasant, looking splendid as always. Now this chap again, these are Chinese. They originate in China. I've seen them described as Mongolian ringneck pheasants, or Chinese ringneck pheasants. The Mongolian ones have got white wings though. And here's friendly old Dunnock, the hedge sparrow, who's not really a sparrow. Prunella modularis, also known as a hedge warbler for its song. They go all the way down to Iran, and they were introduced in the 19th century to New Zealand, so there are lots and lots of Dunnocks in New Zealand now. And if you ever see one, you'll find 3 to 5 bright blue eggs in its nest. And now the greenfinch again. I found these sunflower kernels, and I'm just testing out to see if anybody likes them, and it seems that they all do. And particularly the finches. And there we have it for another session. I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, please like, subscribe, We'd be very pleased to have you along for the journey. Anyway, enjoy this greenfinch, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.